I am 88 years old. I have buried my husband. I have buried two of my closest friends. And I have buried the woman I used to be, the one who spent her entire 30s in a state of quiet panic because she believed she was falling behind everyone else. If you are in your 30s right now, stop scrolling, sit down, and listen to me, because I am about to hand you something it took me almost 60 years to understand. And if you hear me, really hear me, it will change the entire direction of your life. Give me 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. 5 minutes from an 88-year-old woman who made the mistake you are making right now. My name is Evelyn. I was born in 1938 in a small town in Ohio. My father was a postal worker. My mother stayed at home with me and my three sisters. We didn't have much, but we didn't know that because nobody around us had much either. I got married in 1960 to a man named Richard. Good man, kind hands, quiet voice. We moved to a modest house on Elm Avenue with a red mailbox and a lemon tree in the backyard that never once grew a single lemon. But I loved that tree because it was mine. By 30, I had two children, a boy, Daniel, and a girl, Catherine. I was working part-time as a bookkeeper at a small insurance office downtown, and I should have been happy. I had everything a woman of my generation was told to want. But I wasn't happy, not even close. And here's the part that haunts me to this day. When I turned 30, something shifted inside me, like a switch being flipped in a room I didn't even know existed. I started looking around at my neighbors, at my sister Jean, at the women at church, at anyone and everyone who seemed to be doing it better. Jean had a bigger house. My neighbor Dorothy's husband made more money. A woman from my Bible study group had just gone back to college, and every time she mentioned it, I felt this hot, ugly feeling crawl up my chest. Not anger, not sadness. Something worse. Something that felt like I was being left behind while the world kept moving without me. I remember one morning, I was standing at the kitchen sink washing dishes, and I looked out the window and saw Dorothy pulling out of her driveway in a brand new car. A brand new car. And I looked down at the dish in my hands, and I looked at the cracked linoleum under my feet, and I thought, what am I doing wrong? What does everyone else know that I don't? I was 32 years old, and that thought, that one thought, poisoned the next 8 years of my life. I started keeping a list in my head, not on paper, worse than paper, in my head, where it played on a loop every single morning. Jean has a nicer kitchen. Dorothy's kids go to a better school. Linda from the office is getting promoted, and I'm still filing papers. My cousin Barbara took her family to Florida, and we can't afford the gas to visit Richard's mother, 2 states away. And every time I added a new item to that invisible list, I shrank a little. I became a little quieter, a little less present with my own children. My son Daniel would come running up to me with a drawing from school, some crayon son with a big lopsided grin. And instead of getting down on my knees and telling him it was magnificent, I'd say, "That's nice, honey," and go back to scrubbing a pot I'd already scrubbed twice. I wasn't there. My body was in that house, but my mind was somewhere else. My mind was in Dorothy's house, in Jean's kitchen, in every life that wasn't mine. I know what you're saying inside your head right now. That won't happen to me. Let me tell you something. You are already doing it. Every time you open your phone and scroll through someone else's highlight reel, every time you go to a gathering and feel that quiet, sick twist in your stomach when someone talks about their raise, their new home, their engagement, you are doing exactly what I did at my kitchen sink in 1970. The dishes are different. The window is a screen now. But the poison is a dynamical. But that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part is what comparison stole from me. Not the big things, the small ones, the ones I can never get back. There was a Saturday afternoon in 1974. Richard was outside raking leaves. Daniel was 8. Catherine was 6. And they were out there with him, jumping in the piles, laughing so hard that Catherine got the hiccups and couldn't stop. I could hear them through the window. This perfect, beautiful chaos. And where was I? Inside, sitting at the kitchen table, circling job listings in the newspaper, because Jean had just gotten a new job, and if Jean could do it, then what was wrong with me? I didn't go outside that day. I sat in that chair for 2 hours circling jobs I never applied for, while my family made memories in the yard without me. Richard never said a word about it. He never did. But years later, I found a photograph he'd taken that afternoon. Daniel and Catherine covered in leaves, grinning at the camera, just pure joy on their faces. And behind them through the window, you could see me, sitting at the table, head down. He kept that photograph in his wallet until the day he died. And I don't think it was because of the children's smiles. I think it was because he was trying to remember the exact moment he started losing me. I was chasing a version of my life that did not exist. You hear me? It was a fantasy, a ghost. I was competing in a race that had no finish line, against people who weren't even running. Jean, with her big house, she cried herself to sleep most nights because her husband barely spoke to her. I didn't know that until decades later. Dorothy, with her new car, she told me at 75 that the happiest she ever was when she and her husband lived in a rented apartment with secondhand furniture before the money came. And Barbara, the cousin who went to Florida, her kids don't speak to her anymore. Haven't for years. She traded presents for performance, and her children noticed. Everyone I spent my 30s envying, every single one, was fighting something I couldn't see. And I was so busy studying the outside of their lives that I completely neglected the inside of mine. I thought that was the hardest pill to swallow. I was wrong. The hardest pill came at 41. I woke up one morning and my 30s were just gone, like someone had taken a decade and folded it up and slipped it into their pocket. I tried to remember what I had done with those 10 years. And you know what I came up with? Worry, comparison, resentment, and dishes. That was my 30s. A decade of dishes and jealousy. I didn't travel. I didn't write the letters I wanted to write. I didn't plant a garden. I didn't learn to play the piano, even though we had one sitting in the living room collecting dust. I didn't take my daughter to see the ocean, even though she asked me about it every summer. Every summer. Mama, can we go see the ocean? And I would say, maybe next year, sweetheart. We never went, not until Catherine was 22 and took herself. And the thing that makes me want to grab you through this screen is that I knew at the time that I was wasting it. There was a voice inside me, small and clear, saying, Evelyn, stop. Look at what you have. But the louder voice, the one fed by comparison and fear and pride, that voice always won. Some of you are probably thinking this sounds dramatic. Wait until you hit 50. You will remember this exact video. Now I want to talk directly to you. You sitting there with your phone in your hand or your laptop open at midnight. Whoever you are. You are in your 30s and you feel behind. I know you do, because that feeling is universal in your 30s. It's the decade where the world tells you that you should have everything figured out by now. Career, relationship, money, direction. And when you don't have those things nailed down, this quiet alarm starts going off in your chest that says, you're running out of time. I lived inside that alarm for 10 years. And let me tell you what it cost me. It cost me the chance to be fully present for my children's childhood. It cost me hundreds of quiet evenings I could have spent laughing with Richard instead of stewing in resentment. It cost me friendships I let wither because I was too proud to admit I was struggling. It cost me my health. My hair started thinning at 36 from the stress. My doctor at the time, Dr. Shapiro, told me, Evelyn, you are going to worry yourself into an early grave. And I nodded and went home and worried some more. Here is what I finally understood, and it is so simple it's almost embarrassing. The things that matter are embarrassingly simple. Time with people you love, work that doesn't hollow you out, rest, laughter, a walk in the morning air, the sound of your children playing in the next room. That's it. That is the entire list. Nobody on their final day wishes they had a bigger kitchen. Nobody at the end says, I wish I'd compared myself to more people. Nobody. Let me ask you something, and I want you to answer it honestly. If you died tomorrow, would you be satisfied with the way you spent today? Not your career, not your bank account. Today, the actual hours. Did you look at someone you love and really see them? Or were you somewhere else? Because that's the trap, sweetheart. The trap isn't that you don't have enough. The trap is that you've been trained to believe you should have more. And that belief, that endless, hungry, impossible belief, it doesn't go away when you get the thing. The goalposts keep moving. When I get the promotion, then I'll relax. When we buy a bigger house, then I'll be happy. When the kids are older, then I'll start living. Let me save you 50 years of regret with one ruthless truth. That day never comes. I know, because I waited for it my entire life. So here's what I want you to do. Not tomorrow, not when things calm down, right now, today. Stop measuring your life against someone else's. Their life looks good from the outside because all lives look good from the outside. You are comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel, and it is destroying you the same way it destroyed me. Call someone you love. Not a text, a call. Hear their voice. Tell them something true. Go outside and feel the air on your face. Take your child to the park. Sit with your partner in silence. Not everything needs to be productive. Not everything needs to lead somewhere. Be where you are, please, because I am 88 years old and I am telling you from the other side of this life. where you are right now. It's enough. You are enough. And the decade you are so desperate to rush through, you are going to miss it terribly when it's gone. I still think about that Saturday in 1974, the sound of my children laughing in the leaves, the photograph Richard kept in his wallet. I was 36 years old, and the whole world was right outside my window. And I missed it. I missed it because I was looking at the wrong thing. Don't be like me if this reached you. Share it with someone you love. Leave a comment. Subscribe. Because I have more truths to tell, and I am not going to be here forever.